Hello everybody, my name is Tiffany, I'm the Tipsy Artist. We are going live today to do a beautiful tutorial with a mermaid tail. So this is very fun. I always love doing this in the summertime, and I usually come out with a new mermaid design every single year, and this is my most recent one. Let me show you the awesome templates that we have. We have a bunch in this kit. So we have this lovely little tail here. And then we've got the shell, and then the little starfish, and then also a cute little rose. So very fun on that. And then let me show you the model here too. This is what we're working off of. And I'll have this is posted on the website and then also here. So you'll have it to reference. All right, so that's our awesome model. All right, so we can go ahead and get started. I've got everything that comes with our kit with this. So we've got all of our paints, and then we have our lovely brush kit here. It comes with 3 brushes, and then of course our templates that I just showed you, and then also the canvas. All right, and I've got it all traced out. And let's talk about this a little bit here too. Beginners, you're welcome to just start with a pencil. That will give you a little bit more confidence. And then when you know what everything is and you're comfortable with that, like especially stuff that maybe comes out in the foreground, then you can go ahead and firm that up with a Sharpie too. But I personally feel like that really helps throughout the painting process because it does bleed through, and so it leaves all your tracing work there as a handy guide. So that's really nice. All right, so I've got my paint all ready to go here. Off to the side, I just use paper plates, and I've got my little paint that I scored out in advance. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start with the background first. So I'm going to be doing the water all around the beautiful mermaid tail. So this looks kind of like a lovely turquoise color. So I'm going to go ahead and come in with a pretty big brush here, and then I want to go ahead and pick up a nice big dollop of the white, and then a dollop of the blue, and then a dollop of the green. All right, so we're going to mix all of this together, and I do want to keep this really light. So I go ahead and get that base started, but if you want to lighten it up quite a bit, you certainly can. I'm going to actually go for kind of more of a seafoam color. I definitely want this to be very, very light. So I want shades of this very light color coming in with a lot of white, and then I also might even use a little bit of this darker shade too that I mixed up. Maybe just kind of push it back and forth. Give a little bit of variety happening there in that background. All right, so now as we go ahead and start to paint this on the canvas, I'm going to go ahead and hold this brush more over to the side. And this will give me really good coverage. So again, holding the brush more parallel to the canvas really helps out a lot. Now let me show you something else that's kind of fun. So we have these base colors that we use to mix in. So as I go and as the paint is wet, you can also dip into a little bit of that pure blue and just push that through the wet paint. And that's also a really pretty look. Just make sure that your base coat is still wet so that you do get that soft blend happening. But that's a really nice touch in there too. You can do the same thing with just pure white. Push that through, that'll give a nice little highlight, and it just softly blends into that background. And then as you start to do your cut-in work, then you want to change how you hold the brush. So you hold it more like you would hold a pencil, using that line edge of the brush to go towards the canvas. So I'll go ahead and take this all the way around that shape. These are pretty long lines, so I can go ahead and use this big brush. And that actually works in my favor, makes it a little bit easier to control. It's when the little areas get tiny that you sometimes have to switch over to a smaller brush in here, but these are really long strokes here, so I can absolutely use this bigger brush to go ahead and do all of this cut-in work. And sometimes I kind of turn it more over to the side, using the flat side of the brush to go ahead and fill this in. So I'll keep continuing on all the way around here. And then I'll lightly feather this in. So I'll turn that handle back over to the side and just lightly feather this back in here. So get this nice base coat in first. Don't forget about little tiny touches of blue as we work this in. or the little tiny touches of white. You could even do tiny touches of green too. That would give it more of a, like a teal color coming through there. All right, so we still have a little bit of this beautiful kind of a sea foam color happening all the way around the shape. And then I'll line this out here. Uh-oh, this is getting a little bit curvy, so I may have to switch over to a smaller brush. Not a problem. This is getting really curvy in here too. So I'll use Big Daddy as much as I can, but then let's go ahead and switch over now. It's getting a little bit tight in there. So right now I'll switch over with the Mama brush. Go ahead and position this all the way around. So do the cutting work first, and then you want to lightly feather in the rest of those strokes into the background. So then I'll kind of turn that brush more over to the side, and I'll do a little bit of a crisscross action just back and forth to help feather that out into the space. All right, pretty curvy in here, so let's use more of that line edge of the brush. Check your edge too. See how it's still nice and thin? So that will help me have a lot more control when I come in and around these much smaller areas in here. All right, and then I can start to kind of feather it out. So then I'll turn that handle over to the side and then just lightly feather this out a little bit. And then don't forget about little tiny touches of white or blue or some of those other foundational colors that you can use to go ahead and add to the mix. All right, we still have a little bit of cutting work to do up here. Lots of curves here. And then let's go ahead and cut in and around the whole tail down here. And here we go, one long line. Beautiful. All right, now let's feather that out. Work all this back into this background here. We're almost done with our beautiful ocean background. Thank you. Yes, I love that. I always have that happening in my background. But it is very appropriate with today's paint as well. So, perfect with the mermaid. I'm originally from California, so I love hearing sounds of the ocean. I guess that makes sense since I was born in Huntington Beach, and we lived on the beach. My parents called it the beach shack. I've seen pictures, it was kind of a shack. But they did what they had to live at the beach. That was the sacrifice they had to make. All right, so here we go, beautiful feathering in of this color to have a nice soft blend that works into that background. All right, looking lovely. Okay, so I think we're done with all that. Hello, everybody. Let's see who we have that I can see. Hello, Tina, Donna, and thank you so much. And I know there are others out there. Hello, everybody. I just can't see your names, but welcome, welcome. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to go ahead and do all of the inside. We have a lot of pink to work in now. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give my mama brush a bath. And then I'm going to go ahead and work on some pink. All right, so here we go. We've got red and white. So nice dollop of red there, little dollop of the white. You notice I have some orange off to the side as well. And I may want to use that to give me a little bit of a nice coral look. So that orange is what's going to push this to like peachy tones, coral tones, and that's also going to be really pretty. So for right now, I'm going to go ahead and just stick with a really pretty light pink. And then I'll start to work this into the big shapes here. So I've got my mama brush, and I'm going to go ahead and use the line edge to come all the way around the outside of the shape. And then that's coming on this side. And if you do happen to pick up a little bit of the wet paint of the seafoam, you'll definitely want to wipe that off. It's not a real pretty blend with the pink. It'll get a little bit muddy on you, so if you do happen to pick it up, you want to be careful and just kind of take a paper towel nearby and just wipe off your brush. Sometimes you don't always have to completely wash it off. All right, so again, this is red and white, and this makes pink. So it's very pretty. This is the foundation. Basically, I call this stage color blocking. So this is the foundation of the mermaid. And in the same way that we worked in a lot of white in the background of the ocean, you can do the same thing here with that pink. You can do like, broad strokes of white that will work back into that pink too. So I'm going to keep a little bit more white over here off to the side. I got to be careful. I'm getting a lot of sea foam over there, so I accidentally got a little bit of that. I think it's going to be okay. All right, so here we go. Long line that comes all the way around. Big long line here. And then a big long line here too. And then I'll go ahead and fill this in. So if I happen to have a heavier concentration of the red, especially mixed with that white, it will end up going to a more of a hot pink, which is really nice. Howdy! I am getting new messages today, and I'm wondering if Facebook is doing, I think they're doing something different with the live. I'm going to have to brush up on the tutorials. So everybody looks like they have little cameras next to them. And I'm getting this message that says, bring them on camera, but I want to make sure. I don't know if the people are okay with that. So, I don't know. Like if I do that, somebody might go, whoa, I did not know I was going to be on camera just now. So, let me get caught up to speed on that, because I'm a little confused. But it looks like they're adding a new dimension to this, which is kind of cool. I have a feeling they are probably trying to make it more like a Zoom experience. I'm just guessing. I would bet that would be, yeah. So, but it told me I could add somebody, go, oh, bring him on the camera. And I'm like, I'm not sure that's okay with that person. I mean, you could be sitting there using the bathroom or something. I don't know. We want to make sure we're all prepared for our moments, our close-up, as they say. Are you ready for your close-up? So everybody needs to get on board with that and know that it's okay. Can you imagine? You're sitting there watching me while you maybe aren't dressed, and and then I decided to make you go live with me. So I'll wait till we catch up to speed on this just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna do this awesome little starfish up here, but this time I'm gonna add a little bit of orange. All right, so I've got my orange nearby. Let's give it a nice pop of that coral coming through. All right, so this is gonna be awesome. Yeah, I'm liking this. A little bit of coral. Gotta be careful of that wet sea foam still happening nearby. Yeah, I am picking up a little bit of that sea foam, so I gotta be careful. I gotta do a little quick drag off to the side here, kind of get that out of there. All right, nice little soft blend. All right, sweet. So I have a nice mix of coral in there. And then I've got my great foundation here with my seashell and my starfish. And let's see, I need to do some roses. Okay, so roses now. Let me get another paint plate here. And I'm gonna do some clean white because my other white, it has a lot of that sea foam in it. And while that was beautiful for the background, it doesn't play too well with the other brights. All right, so I want some different colors here for fun. And so let's go ahead and do a purple. We'll do some of that. And let's see, I don't mind. I may do a little bit of some cadmium yellow. That might be kind of fun too. And let's do some pink too. Fun little primary magenta here. All right, so now I've got some fun things to play with. All right, so I've got my white, and let's do some of that primary magenta that comes in the kit, so that's super pretty. So I'll go ahead and push that into this shade here. This is just our base. So I'll get all these done, and then I think what I'll do is I'll do a few little lavender ones nearby. So I'll do all of the magenta first. All right, now let's do a little bit of purple with that. That's really pretty too. Actually just mixed in with all that magenta, a little bit of that purple. Let's do great foundation. All right, so those are very fun. They look like big lumpy circles of colors at this stage. That's okay, we're gonna fix that here in a minute with beautiful pattern over the top. But before I do that, I wanna go ahead and work in our beautiful little leaves. All right, so I've got my little bit brush nearby, and let's go ahead and do some green and white. All right, so green and white. Let's do a little twist. Push that together. And I want to make sure I say hi to everybody. We've got Clay. Hi, Clay. Hi, Tina. That's all I can see right now. I know there's more. There's like a bigger number up there, but I can't see all the names. But howdy, everybody. All right, so now I've got my little bit brush. I'm going to go ahead and twist this off into a nice fine point. And then I'll take this out to the little point there and then pull that back in. These little leaves, the basic shape of it, let me show you on a plate, kind of looks like you make the letter V, like that. And then you can just fill that in. But that's the basic shape of it. So I'm going to keep this a really pretty light minty green color or spring green color. And I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. Just green and white on that. And we've got a little baby leaf here. And another one right here. Another way to make a little leaf shape is also just take parentheses and then go ahead and fill that in. one more here. You can add more if you want. Lightly fill that in. Now as I fill this in, it's a tiny area. I'm trying to kind of feather out those brush strokes. So I actually kind of lay the brush over to the side, and that will help kind of feather that in there. All right, so we've got some fun little leaves now. Now I want to come back in and do a nice pattern work over the top of those roses. So I will be coming back in with my little bit brush, but I needed to give it a bath. Make sure you dry it off really well. You don't want any excess water to hit that canvas. If you do, it will make what looks like water runs that will come down. And I know it's the ocean, but what's kind of tragic about these water runs is that they will actually just erase through paint. So, and sometimes that's a cool effect that you might actually want to do intentionally. Sometimes you can play with it, but most people get a little bit freaked out by what it does. So they just you know, try to do everything they can to prevent that. So again, prevention is drying it off really well. Yes, she will love it. And speaking of that, I'm actually working on we have paint kits, which are the big time favorites. Everybody loves those. You can just choose from hundreds of designs and just paint with me online. But the other thing that I'll be preparing is an online class, which is like a bundle of activities too. And then I'll be teaching classes online. So I don't know how the rest of the world is doing, but we're seeing some spiked cases in Corona here. So having to definitely stay focused with lots of online classes for everybody. All right, so here we go. We've got our little bit brush. Let's do a little twist here into the white paint. That'll give me a nice fine point, more control. And then what I want to do is the pattern. It looks like I make like little parentheses. Hi, Audrey. So again, little parentheses, little parentheses. That's the basic pattern here. And also to help it kind of lay onto the surface, you want to make sure and kind of, it's a little bit awkward feeling, but you kind of want to lay that brush more on the side. Gives you more of a gentle hand. So I will position these all the way around. And perfection is definitely not what you want here. A shaky hand can actually kind of be your friend. But the basic shape here are just like little parentheses or little half circles. And you keep taking that around all the way, the surface area here, little bitty half circles, working that in a circular pattern until you get towards the inside and you basically just run out of room. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here, little drags of this white. Add a few more here. This is our first layer. So it's the white layer. Yay! Yes, Oklahoma City. I know we have people from Enidon, Oklahoma City. We normally have people on from the UK and all through the night. I know I shouldn't be watching my phone in the middle of the night. I know I should be sleeping. But we had a lot of people from China on last night. And so I don't know if people are on from China, but hello, China. Hello. They might be in bed now. That's probably why I'm seeing in the middle of the night when I should be sleeping, but I'm not. We had Oregon, Australia. Very fun. That's always been my goal, is to teach people all over the world how to paint. So I think it's super exciting. All right, so that is my first layer. We have this really beautiful effect here of the white all coming on. So now what we need to do is the darkest shade next. So I need to go ahead and bring in dark shades. So little bit brush again, and on the lavender rose, let's go ahead and come in with a nice vibrant dark purple here. I'm going to touch into that. And the first thing I'll start with is a little spot right in the center. That's the shadow in the middle of the rose. So I kind of do a little bit of a drag and then lift off with the right hand. And then I'll do these little half circles again. Just a few of them, a little bit more minimal with this next step and the darker shades. Alright, so I'll take that all the way around. So that's my darkest shade there. On this next round of the roses, then I'll come in with some red. Right, here we go, here's my red. Alright, little dot there in the center. And then I'll just keep kind of lightly dragging a little bit of this red around here too. So it'll softly blend with that white. It's actually a good thing too. Hi, Mariah. All right, little touch of that red. So I may have to do a test. Yes. Howdy ho, sister from another mister. That's right. Yeah, so I was telling some people earlier that it's, on some of y'all, it's showing little video cameras and saying that you might want to like be on the screen with me. But as I mentioned earlier, I want to make sure that everybody would be prepared for that experience. And because we don't want anything too candid. Somebody might have a real shock, not ready for the new technological experience that Facebook has given us all. So we'll have to do a little bit of playing around with that. It's gonna be fun. All right, so here we go. I have my beautiful roses done. And then I want to come in and add little accents now and some of these other elements that I've got. So I brought out my cadmium yellow earlier. I have this off to the side. And this is my beautiful little starfish up here, but I want to brighten it up a little bit. So I've got my cadmium yellow, a little bit of white. And I will go ahead and basically just kind of start to do just a little drag of the paintbrush in each direction. Take that all out into each little quadrant here. So that's kind of fun. Just kind of play with this a little bit, that pattern. So I'll do short little strokes that go out to the outside of this shape. Just create that little bit of brightness right in the center. So I still have that nice little bit of coral happening around the outer edge. And then almost like a little burst of that lighter gold effect happening on the inside. So it's super pretty there. All right, and we have a lovely little seashell here. So I want that contrast happening over the top of this as well. So I'll come in with a little bit of white and a little bit of that cadmium yellow. And I've got my little bit brush here. And I went ahead and traced out this fun little shape here in the center. So I'm just going to fill into this now. It's kind of having a nice little bleed through the paint, which I love, so that helps me see it again. So I basically just, when I drew it out in the center, all this little pattern work here, I basically just did a little echo of that same line that you see in the curve, and then I just did straight diagonal lines. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Straight diagonal? Not exactly. Well, it's a straight line, but instead of diagonal. I don't know. In my brain, somehow it was working, and then I said it out loud, and it didn't sound so good. All right, so little diagonal line. Let's just stick with diagonal lines. So more of a diagonal line coming from the top all the way down to this base here. So again, this is a mix of the white and the cadmium yellow. All right, so this will be a really nice pattern over the top. And if you want a little bit more of a brilliant highlight in here, then of course you can always just add a little bit more white. And so I'll take this all the way around. So I want a little bit more of a highlight, so I'll go ahead and touch in a little bit more white while the paint's still wet. So you get a nice soft blend on that. Pick up a little bit more of that cadmium yellow. Well, thank you, and hello, Relinda. All right, and just a few more strokes in here. And then here at the base, I'm going to go ahead and bring in another little line here of that cadmium yellow. And then I'll pull up from that line to help all this design pattern that we just did. Basically, I want it to look like it belongs and that it is connecting to this base here. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull up from this line and pull into that shape there. And just do a nice soft blend here at the base. All right, so that's looking really pretty. Now we've got a very defined little shell there, and I may want to do one more little tiny line here. Just right here at the base. All right, so very nice. There's our cute little shell, and then we have our little starfish up here. And then, let's see, what else we want to do? We can do little fishies. All right, so let's do a few little fishies here for fun. We also have some fun outline work to do too, so that'll help make some of these designs just really pop out in front. All right, so fun little fishies. I'm gonna do a little bit of white, a little bit of blue, because I definitely want some contrast happening over the top. And if you want to do this with a pencil first, you absolutely can. So these to me are very childlike fishies. So I take a point here and I go around in a loop and then I go back up. Remember how we used to make little fish in grade school? So that's basically what this is. That's how we're going to start it. That's going to be our foundation. Makes it really easy. So I'm going to do another one here. So again, start on one side, make a loop, and then go back up. And then what we'll do is, we'll just make one little line right through here. And we'll connect those, and then we'll just fill it in. And again, this is just a really pretty light blue. So very fun and childlike. Go ahead and fill this in. This is looking quite lovely. And you can go crazy with fish. You can have a lot of fish. You can even do different colors of fish too. So that's always really fun. I'm just going to add a couple. I want little air bubbles now coming out of these. So I'll do, looks like you're going to make almost like little Cheerios. So I'll just spin this brush around. Maybe do a little bit of white, touch that back into it. Every time I go up, I get a little bit smaller. All right, so we'll start kind of big here. And then as we go up, just a little bit smaller every time. And then you can touch up with a little hint of white that goes over the top. You can also do light little accents of white over the top of your fish here too. So while the paint's still wet too, you can get a nice little drag here into that surface area. Or you can just make it a little bit more definite, like a little accent like that, and just leave it like that. So fun little options. Also a fun little eye on the fish. let's show you how to do that. So take the handle of the brush and then dip this into the paint and then just press straight forward. And then that makes your fun little eye. Isn't that cute? And if you're feeling really adventurous, thank you so much, and hello, Marley. All right, let me do a little happy face maybe. We'll see how this works. Want to make sure you have a nice thin line. So just barely twist into the paint here. You want to make sure you have a nice, tiny little edge. And then you can do just a little smiley face, like that. Tiny little smiley face. Our fish are very, very happy here. All right, so now we need to do a little bit of some outline work around these shapes up here. So I'm going to use my mama brush again, and I want to make sure that I've got a nice outline, but I don't want anything too harsh, so I'll go ahead and just come back in with the red again, just a darker red. I'm going to go ahead and press into that. Firm pressure. I want to load up the brush, but I still want that edge to be nice and thin. And then I can go ahead and just outline all the way around here. So this will definitely help provide a nice little border. So same thing here. Oh, see, I'm glad I checked. That would have been maybe kind of bad. All right, so I just picked up a little bit too much. So I'm getting a lot of white, so I'm gonna get this out of the way. So all right, go back into this red. All right, nice thin line edge. Let's go ahead and come back around here. Same thing here. And you can see already how it really helps. Just really kind of makes it pop forward, gives it some dimension. All right, and then same thing here on this side. All right, and then we still have some outline work we need to do around the shells. Now this brush will no longer work because it's too curvy and small. So I need to go ahead and I'm gonna let Mama rest in the water, let her take a bath here. Let's go back to our little bit brush, do a quick little twist into the paint, twist it between my fingertips, and then we'll go ahead and outline all the way around these little shapes here. So this will give a nice outline. And if you want something a bit more dramatic too, you certainly can do that. You could even opt for maybe like a purple would be really pretty too. It's not quite black, but definitely a lot darker. So I'll take this lovely little line all the way around. All right, really pretty. And then I also need to come back in here and do a little outline around that. All right, and to help steady your hand, if you need to have like a little training wheel to help keep it steady, you can let your pinky rest on your canvas. Just make sure there's no wet paint and make sure you're not sticking it into wet paint. But you can absolutely let your pinky rest on the canvas, kind of help steady your hand while you do some of these tinier little intricate turns. All right, I picked up a bunch of seafoam on that, so I'm going to do a quick wipe on my paper towel. Remove that seafoam color because that will make it muddy and we don't want that. All right, so I'm going to come back in with this red all the way around. Gives a nice outline to it, really helps it pop out in front. All right. Looking really pretty. Now we need to do some white highlights here. Thank you so much, and hello, Leota. Thank you. All right, so here we go. We've got our little bit brush, or you could even do little buddy to make some little accents. I need some clean white, that white that I just had a lot of seafoam in it, and that would be very muddy over the top of the mermaid tail here. So I'm going to go into this white. This is a little bit cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of this white, just pure white paint. I'm using my little buddy brush here. And then as I come into this shape here, I'm going to go ahead and make like little loops and then come back to a point and just fill this in. This is just kind of a nice little accent here over the tail. And then again, so start at a point, go down for a loop, and then come back up. And then just fill that in. And same thing here, point, make a loop, come back. And then we'll do the same thing over to the other side of the tail here. So point here, loop, and then come right back. You know, you could also just leave it as an empty loop too. That's actually kind of a fun little pattern there. So either way, you can kind of see the difference. I'm going to go ahead and fill mine in just so that I'll have symmetry with my design. But I'm allowing this to be shown for just a moment so you can make a decision. Some of you might actually really love the way this looks here with just the pattern and that pink kind of showing through in the center. So that is up to you. I'm going to go ahead and fill this back in now. But I think it looked great both ways. I'm just filling it back in so that it has symmetry with the other side. And just go ahead and fill this in. All right, and then I still want a few little accents happening here and there. So I'm gonna take a light little white accent happening here, and then one happening here. And then I want a little bit of another white accent happening against this bright yellow, but my brush had filled up with too much white paint, and so all the bristles were really getting spread out, and I would have had a real struggle making a nice thin line. So I just basically take my paper towel, and I'm still coming back into the same color so I don't have to wash it out, but I'm going to do a quick little white here. So I basically get it thinned back out again. Do a little check. It's all thin, ready to go. Then I can reload with that white paint. And then I can make a nice little tight accent here in this base of the seashell. So, but again, I wanted that line to be really thin. Just one little line here. Just adds another like nice layer of pattern over the top. There we go, and then I want one more accent here on the bottom. All right, really nice. I'm also going to do a little bit of some white accents around the shapes in the ocean water. So I'll come around these little leaves. Do a few little curlicues. It's almost like making, you know, that little parentheses, just a little bit. This shape is a lot like making that letter V. So I'll do a nice little accent that happens in the outside here. And also I added roses here. You're also more than welcome to add a lot more roses too. In the model, I just kind of went nuts with them, so you can definitely do a lot more of those. so it's really starting to fill the space nicely. And then I want a little bit of some white accent here. So basically I just kind of did a little echo of the same pattern work and just followed that all the way around. I'll do the same thing here. Come all the way around. And then other fun patterns that you can do too, you can also do, I think it's fun to do more of those water bubbles. So I've got my little bit brush here, I'll dip into the white paint, and you can just do fun little, you can fill them all the way in. Make them kind of textural, or you can also do them just as an outline. Like more like a Cheerio shape, which is kind of fun. Maybe make some kind of big. But you could have a lot of those filling the space too. There's a big bubble right there. So just something kind of fun and different. Maybe I'll put a few more on the other side here. Maybe add a little bit of an accent color to it. Got a little bit of purple that I'm adding in. So it's just doing a nice soft blend with that white and giving a nice little accent to it. Really helping it kind of stand out over the surface. All right, so do a little bit more there. And a nice little spin. Again, this is that purple with maybe just a little bit of white. All right, so that's fun. Okay, so we've done something a little bit different than what we did in our model, but it definitely gives you an idea of some different options. Thank you, Kim. Hello, how are you? All right, so that is actually, I think we're finished now. So the only thing that's still remaining is to sign your cute little masterpiece here. If it's dry, I always recommend doing your using your Sharpie. Just makes it so much easier. So I've got a little tiny area here. I want to go ahead and have an angle, and I'm going to go ahead and do a tiny little signature. Tipsy Artist. Yay! All right, and we're finished. So again, recap on everything we used here. We have our awesome templates. So lots of fun designs on this one. We've got the mermaid tail, and we have the seashell and the starfish and the rose. So that's very, very fun. And of course it comes, if you need it, we've got it sold separately or all together, but we've got the canvas and the paint and the brushes. Or you can buy everything separately, so you can do this project at home, and everything is at tipsyartist.com. All right, so again, thank you so much for joining me today. We will be back tomorrow at noon. You know me, I can never remember what I'm painting the next day, but I promise it's on Facebook events. It's also, let's see, you're good and you miss seeing me. I miss you too. I know. Thank you so much. But yeah, come back and see me tomorrow at noon. We'll be live. Yeah. All right, so y'all have a beautiful rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow at noon. And again, the painting is shown on Facebook and our website, tipsyartist.com, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.